Arson arrests. A firebug accused of dousing an Islamic mosque with accelerant and setting it ablaze is behind bars right now in St. Lucie County.
Tonight, news crews and live trucks are parked just outside Joseph Schreiber's home in Port St. Lucie as new details come to light about the 32-year-old.
Surveillance cameras were rolling when investigators say Schreiber drove up to the mosque on his motorcycle and committed the crime, coinciding with a Muslim holiday.
It's that same motorcycle that helped investigators connect the dots to nail him outside a pizza shop this afternoon. Tonight, live team coverage. CBS 12 is digging deeper, finding possible warning signs and a disturbing criminal past.
We begin with CBS 12's Israel Balderas in St. Lucie County outside the jail where Schreiber is being held.
Port St. Lucie resident Joseph Schreiber leaving the sheriff's office late Wednesday night in handcuffs after being questioned for hours. Now he faces the possibility of life in prison after being charged by the St. Lucie County Sheriff with setting fire to this mosque.
The FBI and the ATF continue to investigate and will determine any possible federal charges in conjunction with the United States Attorney's Office.
It was Sunday night when cell phone video captured flames coming out of the Islamic Center of Fort Pierce. Immediately, law enforcement released this mosque surveillance video. In it, cameras recorded a man running away as the fire began to grow and then driving away on a motorcycle.
A search warrant was obtained for Schreiber's house and was served and conducted. During the search warrant revealed Schreiber's owns a motorcycle that was consistent with the surveillance footage.
Investigators say other evidence collected at his house also links the accused to this arson case. The arrest came less than 24 hours after the sheriff's office pleaded with the public as very little help poured in. But then today, a break in the case. A tip from a community member, along with more surveillance video from businesses and homes along the street where the mosque sits. Immediately, detectives tracked down Schreiber to downtown Fort Pierce, where he was arrested Wednesday afternoon without any resistance.
We're here to tell you that as a community, this was harmful to the community. This was a place of worship, and it was very important for the community that we brought this individual to justice.
Israel Balderas, CBS 12 News.
Joseph Schreiber is no stranger to law enforcement. Arrest records reveal run-ins including armed robbery with a firearm, grand theft, and petty theft. He's also been in and out of prison as many as 4 years at a time. As the 32-year-old prepares to spend his first night in jail, the Islamic community is now rallying to rebuild from the ashes.
CBS 12's Jen Eschbach is live at the scene of the crime on Midway Road in Fort Pierce with a look at how members are moving forward. Jen?
Some surveillance video recovered, as well as evidence that linked
right
him
now,
to
detectives
the
say
arson.
they have got their guy, and the mosque here has the place secured with chains and all of the sides sealed up. But they say this, even with the arrest today, they don't know if it will stop the harassment and hate speech coming at them.
All of the walls charred, the roof wide open, and tables set for a prayer breakfast are melted in place.
This is for certain the worst attack on an Islamic center of worship in Florida in the history of Florida.
All because one person decided to do this to the Islamic Center of Fort Pierce.
We have the arrest of Joseph Michael Schreiber. A person who does an action like this is a degenerate. He's a punk, and he does not speak on behalf of his religion. Just like on June 12th, when I was stressing that Mateen's actions do not speak on behalf of Islam.
This is the last place of worship for the Orlando shooter, Omar Mateen.
Shock. Yeah, shock. Anger doesn't help anyone. So.
And the arrest of the arsonist comes after working all day to salvage what they could.
You're a physician by day, and then you come here and
try to help them as much as we can.
Dr. Humayun Sharif, a member, says he must support his community. The fire destroyed so much of this place on 9/11, and since the Orlando attacks, he says they have no insurance here.
We got a cancellation notice, as far as I know, after the Orlando incident.
The mosque's policy canceled one day after former worshiper Mateen, the Orlando shooter, killed 49 people. And since then, they've been targeted by harassment and violence.
And you can see here, this is some of the debris. They're actually pulling out of it by themselves, the members and Dr. Sharif working hard. They say they will raise money, they will rebuild. But of course, when it comes to hate speech here, they don't know if that arrest will make it stop.
We're live in Fort Pierce. Jenna Ashbach, CBS 12 News.
Nearly a tenfold increase in Islamic hate crimes across Florida. Just 5 cases were reported in 2014. That number shot up to 30 last year. And so far this year, there have been 22 cases of Islamic hate crimes in Florida. You may remember in 2010, a man bombed the Islamic Center of Northeast Florida in Jacksonville. The suspect was shot dead after resisting arrest as the FBI tried to serve an arrest warrant on him in Northwest Oklahoma.
The suspect's neighbors, as you can imagine, in a state of shock tonight. Schreiber's father and several other family members also live at the home in Port St. Lucie. CBS 12's Andrea Marvin continues our live team coverage along Zenith Drive tonight. Andrea?
John, Schreiber's home is directly behind me. His parents are home, but they do not want to speak with us tonight as they come to terms with their situation.
They kind of went down there and they rode up to the street and they kind of blocked off the street and they started calling out from the car.
Izzy Flores witnessing a raid happening next door.
They just kind of like looked around on the driveway and they kind of just kept their distance, but the cop really mostly stood back on the street with the radio speaking to the house.
Police vehicles lined the street as SWAT teams descended on Joseph Schreiber's home. Detectives wearing gloves and booties carrying out boxes of evidence along with a motorcycle believed to be the getaway vehicle. Neighbors tell CBS 12 Schreiber lives with his family.
He really kept to himself more of the time. Like I would say hi and he just kind of like ignore me.
He was really doing whatever he was doing in the yard or like out in the front, and there was really no signs that, he would do something as ridiculous as what he did.
Rabbi Bruce Benson brought the father home once police left.
They didn't expect it. They don't seem to have had any particular indication something was coming.
Schreiber's dad turned to Rabbi Benson for support.
I think they're trying to figure out what's just happened to them.
Now, Rabbi Benson is taken aback by the news. He says that Schreiber did attend some study sessions at the temple, but he never asked any questions that were out of the norm. Reporting live in Port St. Lucie, Andrea Marvin, CBS 12 News.